Well, good morning, everyone. Like a rolling stone. That's right. We are no longer in Los Angeles. Just like a rolling stone, we went to the Grateful Dead concert last night. Well, the Dead and Company. As soon as it was over, I hightailed it back to my apartment, grabbed John, we hopped on a flight, and we are now in Alabama. So today, we are gonna go explore Birmingham, Alabama. It's gonna be a great day. Daze with Jordan the Lion and your buddy begins now. You're the buddy part of that equation when I said and your buddy and I pointed. I didn't mean to point to me, I meant to point to you. Tell everybody how you're enjoying Alabama so far. You like it, don't you? You're in Alabama. All right. He's giving me the guilt trip since he knows I'm about to take off to go vlog, and look at this. Mick Jagger's looking at you and you're looking at me, Ja. Pretty historic city. It's seen pretty tumultuous past. Well, we've made it to Birmingham, and like I said, this is seen so much activity and throughout the history, especially in the civil rights movement, that I wanted to do something related to baseball today and the civil rights movement, because I would say at least half, if not more, of the greatest baseball players that have ever lived were African American, and to think that for a good portion of our history's Major League Baseball career or lifetime, they weren't allowed to play. So today we're gonna go to the Southern Negro League Baseball Museum and check that out. Well, I'd have a heck of a time trying to find a parking place over here, and I couldn't figure out why, and then I realized when I got close to the Birmingham Barons baseball stadium that they're having a game today. Having a day game. There's the Birmingham Barons baseball field, the Regents Field. That's not the same field that Michael Jordan played in when Michael Jordan was a Birmingham Baron. And I'll probably get into that towards the end of this vlog, because there's an interesting story as to Michael Jordan, you know, one of, if not the greatest basketball player of all time in the height of his career, deciding to walk away to go become a minor league baseball player. He didn't play here, but there's a conspiracy theory as to why he did that. So we'll go over to the field that he did play at and we'll talk about that. I grew up being the world's biggest Michael Jordan fan. He was my idol as a kid. And this conspiracy theory actually makes a lot of sense, believe it or not. Here's a little bit of free footage of an actual game taking place. I'm not sure who they're affiliated with now, but back when Michael Jordan was playing for them, they were a White Sox minor league affiliate. He's not doing it right now, but you can tell by looking at him that those eyes and that tail wags. I don't know if it's wind or what makes it happen, but I would love to be seeing that right now. Here's one of the ticket entrances open so we can get a little bit of a view from here. You know, when you're a kid, you get interested in things for odd reasons, and one of the reasons I got interested in the Negro Leagues when I was a kid was because I played catcher in baseball, and my uncle gave me a catcher's mitt one time. And you know, most catcher's mitts or baseball gloves, they would stamp a player's signature inside. You'd have a signature model. And that was always an exciting thing to know, that you maybe had like a Wade Boggs or Kirby Puckett glove. And when he gave me that, it was Josh Gibson's name in there, and I was like, who's Josh Gibson? Well, hopefully we'll find out in here. One of the greatest players in the Negro League history, played for the Grays. Well, here it is, and what's interesting is you can see if you take this little walkway beside the museum, that's the field, Barons baseball field. Sadly, outside of Satchel Paige, I think a lot of times people don't know anything about this league or that it really even existed. Of course, it was segregation that kept everyone from playing together, but you also have to wonder, was it partially that they were afraid, hey, what happens if the African American players, or quote unquote the Negro players, are better than the white players? Huh, maybe we are equal after all. Here we are. The museum is free and they accept donations, so let's go on in. And the Barons became a, even after the Negro Leagues ended, I believe Birmingham supported an industrial league here for years by the businesses that were here themselves. Look at all the signed baseballs by Negro League players.
I don't want to brag too much, but it's a lot.
And of course, you can't have a museum like this without thanking Jackie Robinson for being the man who was willing to take the abuse of being the first African American to play in the major leagues. And there's Willie Mays. Oh yeah, Willie Mays is a part of this history as well. Now this baseball museum also contains a lot of the history of the Birmingham team primarily. So we're going to see stuff by pretty famous players that you might go, wow, I didn't know that he started out there. Look at the old uniforms. They kind of look like the Oakland A's uniforms here. Kind of the Reggie Jackson era of Oakland A's. Look at that picture of an old game being played and how people would have sat around the field. This is back in the day when they would have left their glove on their position as they left, and the player coming out to play for the other team would have used their glove sometimes. Look at that bat. Look at the end of it, the knob of the bat up here. It's called a mushroom knob bat from the 1890s. Of course, this was a massive coal town in the day. Can you imagine being a catcher with that little of a mask these days? I mean, that really only covers your eyes. And there's a Union's jersey from the 1897 team. And this glove is from the 1890s as well. Oh wow, look at that bat. It's amazing the progression that it's taken. Never seen one with a flat end like that. And then that's an 1890s ball. Now this case deals with a lot of the founding of the Black Barons, the Birmingham Black Barons, when they originally started out as the Birmingham Giants. They have a team photo as well, which is kind of cool. You see up here, this is the Negro champions of the South. Look at this old paperwork. Chicago Union Giants, East St. Louis Giants over here. I love seeing that old documentation. Isn't that great? There's George the Mule Suttles. And there's a Black Barons jersey from 1923. And then check this out. That is a game-worn Saul Davis jersey from the 1920s. And here's Saul Davis wearing a different one, because that one says Black Barons across it. Then check out the president of the league, Rube Foster. And then this is documentation showing that the league has been formed. Down here you see Southern Baseball League is formed. Now there's a cool old jersey. Memphis Red Sox, Milford Lawrence jersey. And then up here is Satchel Paige, who was a Baron. Played for the Black Barons from 1927 to 1930. Now this case is for the integration of Birmingham Black players into baseball. Here you can see Willie Mays. And then Bill Greason's Rochester Red Wings jersey. There's a contract approved by the National Association of Professional Baseball Leagues uniform players contract. And let's not forget that the fact that, of course, African Americans being integrated helped players from all over the world. Roberto Clemente, players from Puerto Rico, from pretty much everywhere. You have Mexican players, you've even had players from India. And of course the Dominican Republic makes up a lot of the players now. There's the Huntsville team. And check this out. This old Barons jersey. I love seeing old stuff like this. There's an old Royals jersey. And there is a young Willie Mays, outfielder for the Birmingham Black Barons in 1948. Lloyd Pepper Bassett. Lorenzo Piper Davis. Man, that is cool. That is so cool. Oh, cool. Take a look at this. An old seat from Comiskey Park in Chicago, the old White Sox. That's really cool. That is really cool. Commemorative pennant. Willie Griggs signed baseball. And I'm guessing that they're showcasing that seat because here you can see in 1955 they had an East-West game at Comiskey Park. And this, we gotta show this. This is an autographed bat by Jesse Mitchell, Negro American League Triple Crown winner, 1957. Oh, what a great museum this is. For free. Oh, there's the Jackie Robinson section. There you can see he's got a couple of black players on his team once he was a 55 Dodger. You can see second to the end is Don Newcomb, and then Sandy Amoros, Jackie Robinson right there, and then Roy Campanella was your catcher, and then down here at the end, Junior Gillum, Jackie and Hank Aaron. Now there's Jackie playing for the Kansas City Monarchs right there, and there's Jackie when he was going to UCLA. That says that is Ron Papa Jack Jackson. And he used to be a Red Sox, and this shows that he was in the All-Star game. Game-worn jersey in the 2005 All-Star game, and he was the Birmingham Barons hitting coach, 1989. And then down here they have a little bit of a small mention of Michael Jordan as a Baron. So here's a little more to the story. Here is Ron Papa Jack Jackson's jersey from when he was a hitting coach for the Boston Red Sox in 2004. So he was their hitting coach when they broke the losing streak of World Series, the big, basically they always believed that it was a curse of the Bambino. He would have been the hitting coach, which means the team that wins, or the two teams that play in the World Series, end up being the coaches of the All-Star game. So that's why he would have been the hitting coach for the 2005 All-Star team. And there's his locker tag, an autographed baseball, and a key to the city. Look, the floor of the museum's laid out like a baseball diamond. You've got all the white paint, and you've got, you know, if you check this out, this is great. We're actually down, we're walking back to home plate. See, here's home plate. Now watch this. What do we want to pick? The Midnight Rider, a hurry up ball? Let's do it. Now we've got a hologram down there that's going to pitch to us. Can you see that? I'll start walking towards him. And the ball gets lit up along this. Let's try another one. What do we do? Hesitation pitch. He's dancing around up there. How cool is that? Oh, this is really cool. Satchel Paige's own story, his autobiography, 25 cents. And then over here is a letter from Saul Davis describing discovering Satchel Paige. And those baseballs all represent those pitches that we were up there having Satchel Paige pitch to us. You can see the trouble ball and the hesitation pitch, and there you've got the bat dodger. At Shibe Park, there's an autographed baseball of Satchel Paige as well, right on the side. Good job, camera. Now check this out. Bo Jackson, also one of my all-time favorite players, the guy who got so mad that he broke a bat over his knee. There's a signed helmet of him when he was a White Sox. When he left the Royals, he ended up over here. There's also a signed jersey. Now, if you've ever watched any of the like updates on him, he's an avid fan of archery, and so that's Lee May's jersey. That's cool. The great Lee May. Yeah, now he's a fan of archery and he makes his own arrows and stuff in his basement. Otis Thornton's jersey. Here's a real historical case, the Rickwood Field case, America's oldest ballpark. You can see right here where the Southern Leagues were played. And there is a original seat. There's an autographed glove of the Negro League players. The Rickwood Field home plate. Look how thick that is. That's easily 3 inches thick. And there we have a game-used uniform. Cleophas Brown of the Woodward Iron Company. That's the Wyco. Then here we have Frank Thomas, the great Frank Thomas's jersey, and it's signed right up here. And there he is. And then Vita Blue played here, but then also for the Birmingham A's, and that's kind of why I made that comment earlier. That is Reggie Jackson right there. That's why I made that comment. I'm like, hey, those jerseys kind of look like the old A's jerseys. Because look at that, Reggie Jackson's jersey. There you can see on the cover of that, it's a 1997 souvenir program of 10 years at the Met, and it's showing players that played for the Birmingham team. You see Robin Ventura, Terry Francona, who was the manager of those Red Sox that broke that curse. Then there's Michael Jordan, Frank Thomas, Bo Jackson. Check this out. Recreation of an old field, and all these seats are from somewhere different. These are from Ray Winder Field, and then Briggs Stadium right here, and then White Sox Comiskey Park. And these Briggs, that was the Tigers, the old Tiger Stadium. Now these were from Engle Stadium. That was the Chattanooga Lookouts, who have been a Reds affiliate for a long time. And then down here we have the Ponce de Leon Park of the Atlanta Black Crackers. And then our last one is Forbes Field, the old Pirates. Then here's a memorial case to the industrial leagues that I mentioned earlier. You can see 1977 on that jacket, so. I think just having professional baseball here for so long in the Negro Southern leagues, that once they were accepted in Major League Baseball, a lot of players wanted to continue to keep playing, so. It's from 2013. And this is cool. This is a case all to the Philadelphia Stars team. I love that they've incorporated not just the Birmingham team, but many of the teams. Little odds and ends, little mementos. That picture up there is Kansas City Monarchs player Wilbur Bullet Joe Rogan. And here's his jacket, Bullet Rogan. All right, well, I think we are out of here. What a great museum. There's Willie playing here in Birmingham. And as we leave, I'll show you all these on the side, kind of what I was showing you when we came in, all these figures, and then you can see right into the game. Perfect placement for a field, I would say, or a perfect placement for a museum, either way. They just did the last call for alcohol, so we'll probably see a stampede here shortly. Hence why you might hear the Cheers music in the background. They're playing Cheers to let everybody know that it's time to get your cheer on. So let's take off and we'll go out to where Michael Jordan played for the Birmingham Barons. Well, here we are. While Michael Jordan was playing minor league ball, he played here. Let's see if we can take a look at the stadium. Michael Jordan would have been making an attempt in everyone's eyes, and according to all of his interviews, to try and become a professional baseball player. Now, what was so weird about that, I think, for me and for everyone else, is that this guy was on the greatest team in basketball at the time. They had just had a three-peat, and then he comes out and says, hey, I think I'm going to take a step away and go play baseball. For a guy as competitive as Michael Jordan was, that was really surprising to everyone. And so for over the last few years, people have come up with this kind of believable conspiracy as to what happened those days and why he decided to come play baseball. You see, if you remember in those days, Michael Jordan's father was discovered dead, and there was a lot of speculation that it was due to Michael Jordan's gambling addiction. And in those days, the paparazzi were kind of hush-hush with everything that Michael Jordan did. We know now that his big flu, quote-unquote flu playoff game, he was hungover, they all say. He'd been out partying, so he was a well-known drinker, gambler, partier, and what they believe is that he had a severe gambling addiction, and that might have been what ended up having his father killed. So the NBA had started to investigate his gambling background. They had found multiple checks written to people in the sum of like $50,000, $57,000, $900,000 that Michael Jordan had written to people, and they couldn't understand why it was written. And at first, in some of those cases, he would say, well, it was a loan, but then once he was under grand jury testimony, he said that it was to pay gambling debts. And that $900,000 one was a claim by a man who said he gambled quite often with Michael Jordan. That was just a gambling weekend of what Michael Jordan ended up owing him. So they say in those days that David Stern had started an investigation that would have probably led to Michael Jordan being suspended from NBA basketball. A lot of people believe that David Stern, in an act to save face for Michael Jordan and the biggest commodity the NBA had, that Michael Jordan and David Stern worked out an agreement that in place of a suspension, Michael Jordan would choose to retire. And if you remember in his retirement speech, he says, you know, if maybe in 5 years, if I have the love for playing and the Bulls will have me back and David Stern will have me back. And that was just kind of a weird thing to say, like, why would you wonder if the commissioner will have you back? They say that they had negotiated to have Michael Jordan come and play baseball because it would be a huge distraction and it would take people's minds off of the controversy of the investigations. So Michael Jordan came out and, you know, said, you know, I'm gonna go play baseball, go join the minor leagues. I think he was like 32 years old, which is kind of unheard of to do. And within a couple of days or even like a week or two, David Stern dropped the investigation on Michael Jordan's gambling and said that we found nothing was wrong. And then, you know, roughly about a year later, Michael Jordan returns, comes back before the playoffs and everything and says that he wants to rejoin the team. And then they go on to have another three-peat. I mean, they were by far the most winning team in the 90s history for any sport. And Michael Jordan comes back and people count up the days in which Michael Jordan retired and then came back, and they say that's exact amount of time, almost to the day of what he would have received for a suspension. And there were other people that made claims saying that they overheard Michael Jordan saying, what's the spread on that? 7 points, which would indicate that he was gambling on a game, which would, you know, put him in Pete Rose category, which is a ethics violation. Playing professional sports and gambling on sports, even if it's not your own team, it's still against the rules. So that could have kept him out of the Hall of Fame. It could have really tarnished his entire legacy. So I don't know, Michael Jordan, you tell us what was the deal with that. But yeah, that's a conspiracy. But I just thought it was interesting because Michael Jordan, you know, was basically like a 200 batting average hitter. He wasn't that great, wasn't a real strong arm in the outfield, wasn't all that great of a player, and yet they planned on promoting him the next season. He did play Arizona League ball, which is like a fall league that players want to get a little extra work in, they do it. So he was doing all the things that made it look like he was really attempting to have a baseball career. So it's anyone's guess as to whether it was a David Stern, Michael Jordan agreement, or if it was just Michael Jordan wanting to play the game of baseball and challenge himself. Who knows? And of course, when Michael Jordan was playing, all of a sudden ESPN had an interest in showing minor league baseball games on ESPN, which you'd never really seen before. Well, my friends, that's gonna do it for our first day here in Alabama. We'll see you all tomorrow in Birmingham. Have a great night and goodbye.